How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Supporters Club. We've got another one today. Coming up to mid-January, it is the January transfer window. It's open. We've done a bit of business with Ainsley Maitland-Niles leaving the club temporarily on loan. No option or no obligation to buy. But I'm going to introduce a few guests and talk about what we need, if we need anything, this January transfer window and how important it is. I'm with a few guests, Julian, Laurie, Jordan, all good?
You said, brother.
It's an honour. I ain't been on here for a while, man. So
me neither. What's going on?
Yeah, we haven't done many of these in a while, so you know.
Yeah, it's been a few months.
Yeah, it's been a few months.
Well, it's been a few weeks for me.
All right,
sure. Trying to rub it in.
Yeah.
Julian, let's start with you, man. Let's start with you. January, we're in top four. Tottenham next, but we've been knocked out the FA Cup.
Yeah.
In my interview following that game, I said top four now needs to happen. I think you disagree with that, but does this January transfer window, you know, how much does it mean to our success this season and the process overall?
Okay, it depends what you say. When you say needs to happen, what will happen if it doesn't happen? Because one thing we both agree on is we both want it to happen.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't happen, what do you think should happen? And what do I think should happen, I think is the question here, because we both definitely want that to happen. And I feel, I don't know how you feel, is that it's achievable as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, credit to Arteta, and this is where I will give Mikel Arteta credit first. He's put us in a position where top four is achievable. You know, it's the right word, it's achievable. At the start of the season, I didn't think it was. You make a good point, what happens after. I don't want to dwell on what happens if we don't make it, because I think you know what my opinion is if we don't make it.
Well, all right, I think, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, if we don't get top four, then you think Arteta should go?
Pretty much.
Okay, so that's where we differ.
And people might call that unfair because, like I've just said, at the beginning of the season, I didn't see top four as a possibility. But halfway through the season, through Arteta's good work, he's made it a possibility. So is it unfair for me to say that? Is it unfair for me now to say something I didn't believe was a possibility at the start of the season is a possibility now, but that possibility was created by the man that now burdens the pressure for the second half of the season? Is that fair, Jordan? Is that fair?
I think it's difficult to judge a man based off of moving variables. As you said, at the start of the season, you expected X. As season progresses, Y is possible now. So it's like, okay, we're going to change expectations. To judge him on the fact that he's got us in a position where, as you say, we could get top four. If he doesn't now get it, you're going to punish him for that almost. Feels a little bit harsh. I'm not as far, I wouldn't go as far as to say...
Did you put in your disclaimer? Did you declare an interest before you answer that question?
That I'm a supporter of Arteta. Everyone at FT knows. They know that he's my guy. They know.
That's your guy, man.
That's my guy. But that doesn't mean I don't hold him accountable. I think he's put us in a position where top four is possible. Start of the season, I think on our podcast we said Turkish that I think we all agreed top six would be a good season. I think we said top six to start of the season.
But a cup.
And a cup,
now
that's
we're
right.
knocked out of the main cup. That's why my feeling...
I agree.
I'm basically... Me and fans that think like me are basically being asked now to again drop this season out. If a fan doesn't say to me top four, you know, it needs to happen now, then it's basically dropping out another season, in my opinion.
There's nuance though. I think to be binary and say no top four now, he's got to go, I think is a bit harsh. For example, if we finish fifth and missed out by a point, should he go then?
This is where I was about to ask you about Unai Emery and about the fairness. Now, at the beginning of this first season, Emery was with us. I don't think anyone would have said we need to make top four because of the transition from Wenger. But what happened through the season is, through good work from Emery, chopping and changing, 22 game unbeaten and whatever happened that season, we was a point off in the end. But in the end, that was used as a measuring stick of Emery, as a battering ram even. Oh, them last two games against Brighton and Palace, he should have done it. But if I took myself to the start of that season, I didn't expect him to do it. And here we are again with a similar scenario. So, you know, was we fair on Emery then? Or have we learned to be fair now off the back of that?
Yeah, but
you know, it's a very interesting debate because in most workplaces, right, at the start of the year,
You have targets.
you have targets. So when you have your appraisals,
No,
which
according
I'm sure he's had his appraisal. At the start of the season, I would imagine they would have said, look, you've had 2 8th place finishes. We need to see an improvement in that. So I would imagine his bare minimum was qualifying for Europe. However, it is fair to say that in any workplace, they will be moving targets depending on certain situations. It could be revised downwards or upwards. Now, it may be that they may look at it, given the fact that we're now out the FA Cup, we're not in Europe, teams around us are not playing great, let's be honest. It may be that when he has his appraisal for the forthcoming 6 months, they might say, well, listen, you know what? We think, given the way things are, we should be making a push for that top 4. So I don't think he would lose his job for that if we didn't qualify for Europe, but I think it might.
So let me ask you, Turkish, then. If in the next game, or the next league game, let's say, I'm going to give an extreme example here. Let's say Ramsdale, Gabriel, Lacazette, Saka, Partey, I know he's away, but let's just say he wasn't away, Xhaka, and Tierney all broke their leg. Out for the season, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
If we then finished 8th, would you then criticise him?
But that's a variable that when it changes, I might readjust my
So I'm just checking
opinion.
you're being consistent.
With the
I'm just
FA
checking
Cup-
you're being consistent.
With the FA Cup exit,
Yeah.
that variable for me changed. Obviously, we're not in the main cup that I wanted to win this season. One of 2 we can win.
Yeah.
So now I need this because for the rest of the season, we have no Europe. We're not in one of the main cups, and one of the cups, 2 ties left in the semi, potentially a final 2. You mentioned variables, and you touched on variables that have worked in our favour this season, which is the form of the teams around us. And those variables have worked in our favour.
They have.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, at the start of the year,
And how many
I
seasons?
can't speak for the club, but I can speak for myself. I said unequivocally that my bare minimum for the manager was he needed to finish in Europe, in the top 6, that is. I was also after a decent cup run. Now, we were out the FA Cup, but we still could win the Carabao Cup. And we wanted to see improvements in the way the team were playing, because I think it's fair to say that towards the end of last season, the playing style wasn't very
Ever
good.
since Wenger's last 2 years, we haven't had a playing style, let's be honest.
So he's met 2 or 3 of those already.
Yeah.
He's met 2 or 3 of those already. So I think it's a work in progress.
Yeah, and again, I'll give Arteta credit there. Cultural overhaul, I'm impressed with. You know, the signings from the summer, I'm impressed with. We just, you know, for me, it's about not taking my foot off the gas as a fan, because I think Kroenke's in the summer off the back of the Super League nonsense and whatever else. They invested. They spent the most in the Premier League, albeit I don't think it's enough to bridge the gap from where we was to where we want to get to. But they've done something. Arteta and Edu, with that money, they brought us 6 players that throughout the season, I'd say 5 of the 6 we've been very impressed with. The other one we're still working out with.
Who's the other one?
I'd say the other one's Lokonga at the moment. I think Odegaard, Tavares, Ben White, Tomiyasu and Ramsdale have all impressed through extended
I would
patches.
say, I would even go as far as to say that Tomiyasu and Ramsdale have excelled.
Yeah.
They're 2 of our best signings in many years, in my opinion. Again, this goes to Arteta. Credit to Arteta, because I know at the start of this video, the way this mood is going, you're going to get comments already. Where Turkish, negative, 1 loss, and he's flipped. Nah, credit to Arteta for a lot of things. But as a fan, how many seasons can I sit back and say,
No,
let's just
you
hope
don't need to
progress?
apologise for that, bro. You're
Because
I'm with you on that.
That's obviously your,
Yeah,
it's obviously your opinion. I mean, on Lokonga, take out Sunday's performance. I didn't think he was great, but then I didn't think any of them were great. I've been really impressed by Lokonga, so I would actually say 6 out of 6.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess some fans would say that, and I get that. It's just that, you know, that
It might be
Nottingham
that
Forest
he's been the
performances-
least impressive.
The least. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair to
But
say.
I don't
Yeah.
think he's been a flop.
I didn't say that. I said we're
No,
still
no,
working
yeah,
out.
I'm just saying that's my perception.
So it's like 5 out of 6, 6 out of 6. But I think we can all agree that all 6 of the signings, if you put them together as a summer transfer window, was pretty tremendous.
Yeah, and that's why people tend to forget this and go straight to negativity. I said Arteta gets the rest of this season because he's put us in a position where top 4 is viable. He's also put us in a position where we knocked out the FA Cup in the first round for 2 years.
Yep.
But the difference, well, the difference to last year is when we got knocked out the FA Cup, Europa League was still there for us to achieve Champions League. This season, the difference of Europe is not there. So we have to look at top 4. If I say top 6 is the target and I'd be happy with that, then what was all that talk about? We need a season out of Europe to kind of get back to...
It's a wasted season.
Yeah, it's another wasted season, Jordan, and I'm tired of them. Like I said...
Would you all agree with me then that top 6 is minimum requirement, given the fact that we're not in Europe, given the fact that there's a lot of teams in and around us? I mean, you saw Man United last night. Poor performance, they're not playing well. West Ham started well, but they're faltering a little bit.
And it is
Spurs are up and down. So, come on now.
I'd say
we've got to finish in that
start
top
of the
6.
season, bare minimum was top 6, but
Bare
sitting
minimum.
here now, for me, it's changed to top 4.
Yeah, and then when we're saying...
What, is that as a bare minimum? Sorry to...
From here, yeah.
Yeah?
Because for me, it's not a successful season, but it's a season where you've made inroads to success. But I don't think finishing top 6, 5th and 6th
Top 4 is not success.
Yeah.
Not for a fan that's seen Invincibles and seen a
okay,
trophy
okay,
lifted.
sure.
You don't get like as
It's
much as
improvement.
Wenger.
He's harsh, you know.
As much as Wenger,
no.
as much as Wenger said, you know, top 4 is a trophy and whatnot, and a lot of people, Pochettino said it since, fans have said it since, and I understand the meaning behind it, but the reality is it's not a trophy. And to enter a competition that you're not ready for or you've been embarrassed in the past, Man United over the last few years, they make top 4, go Champions League. More often than not, since Ferguson, they're out in the group stages. It's more of an embarrassing process than progress.
I think it's progress because it's not just about winning that competition. It's about when you're in it, the financial implications of being in it, and also the players that you can attract. Now, one of the issues we've had by not being in it is it's more difficult to get the players. So if we look at the transfer, if we look at the transfer window now, I'm going to try and pronounce his name. Vlahovic. There's talk that he's not that enthusiastic to come to us. I would say that one of the reasons he's not overly enthusiastic is because of our non-record of Europe the last few years. These guys want to play at the highest level. The highest level is the Champions League. So if we're not in it, it's going to be more difficult to attract these players. If anything, what compensates? Giving them more money. If we're not in it, we have less money. So it's a downward spiral. So
I'm not wholly convinced by that.
I don't want him in. First of all, I don't want him anyway. I don't want him. I'm not convinced by him.
Okay.
He's a hype man right now. I can see him being a... Who was the guy that went to Madrid a few years ago?
Jovic.
Yeah, I can see him being a hype man. I'm not convinced by him at all.
And the numbers are mad.
The numbers are mad, but in 2 years' time, it wouldn't surprise me if you never heard of him again.
Yeah.
So,
No, but you know what I'm disappointed with as well, and I'll be interested to hear your guys' thoughts. If those comments that have been made by him, that are attributed to him, are true, then I'm disappointed that, because even if you feel that way, I don't think you should be publicly saying this club doesn't match my ambitions and stuff like that. Because if we do get him, there's going to be a section of the fan base, myself included, going to look at him a bit side-eyed and saying, right, how did he come? Was it just for the money then?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, well, go on.
Yeah, and then he scores a hat-trick on his first game. We'll forget that.
Yeah, but then what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't score a goal in the first 5 or 6 games?
But ultimately, as fans, they've said things in the past. I mean, I go back to Xhaka. I won't use the actual expression, but he basically told us all to F off. And
that was slightly different though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they can say what they want. Ultimately, we judge them on their performances. Eddie, I think he's a perfectly nice guy. From what I can see, I think he's a great human being. But did he get absolutely slaughtered on Sunday? Yes. Nothing to do with him as a personality. Everything to do with him missing from 3 yards. So I think as football fans, we're pretty fickle. They can say what they want, but if they come on and they perform, we give them that.
Just going back to your point earlier about the Champions League thing, and I hear a lot of Arsenal fans saying this, but you've got to be in the Champions League because we're going to attract a calibre of player and rare. We're in the Champions League for 20 years.
Yep.
When were we ever buying top players in that 20 years? We were never buying top players when we were in it. I'll argue our biggest signings came when we were out of it. Aubameyang and Ozil.
Yeah.
So Ozil was post Champions League. Am I correct?
No, he was in the Champions
League.
League.
Aubameyang was definitely after Champions League.
And
Pepe. Yeah, and if you're going to use Ozil as an argument, I would agree with you. If we attract an Ozil by being in the Champions League, I'd rather play on Hackney Marshes.
And I'd also argue that Ozil, I think, came more so because he got thrown off the boat. Let's have it right. He got thrown off the boat. We weren't battling for Ozil's signature and we won. he got thrown off the Real Madrid boat and there was nowhere else to go.
Mourinho didn't rate him.
Similar to Sanchez.
Yeah, so I think when we kind of claim this big,
I think we got Sanchez. He was a top player on the up. But Ozil, I think the manager, I think Mourinho was his manager.
Ancelotti, I think.
Yeah, Ancelotti and Mourinho played under. I think they'd sussed him out. And they were pleased to get shot of him, and we were mug enough to take a player like that.
Mentioned,
I have to say that what Jordan says, I absolutely agree. I've had this debate. It was actually the title of our show. Go check out that show, by the way.
Well, fucking you're talking about There's some manners, man.
Stay here, support Scott people, man. Don't listen to him.
No, but on a more serious note, no plug. We spoke about this last week, and it was a debate about Champions League or over cup success or vice versa. And during that conversation, we discussed, Curtis was making the point that with Champions League football, you're able to attract a better calibre of player. And yes, I do get that to an extent, but I don't think it's an overriding factor. I don't think it's a deal breaker.
When you look at Liverpool, I think are the model that we should be following, because they haven't signed any superstar players. Salah wasn't a superstar, nor was Mane. They don't sign superstar players. Even Virgil van Dijk was at Southampton. I think the model for us is to look at the right players rather than the big shiny player that wants to come to the Champions League football. I personally think, going back to your point about top four, the way it's looking with Manchester City and even Chelsea, top two could be wrapped for the next 5 to 10 years anyway. So getting the top four in itself could be an achievement. Though I can't see any team in the Premier League for the next 5 to 10 years beyond those two teams. I just can't. I think Liverpool have had their moment. They won't win it this year. Next year, Salah and Mane are a year older. I just don't see it. So without being unambitious, I'm not trying to downplay our chances of winning a title. I just don't see anyone win the title in the next few years. So top four might be a trophy.
That's the argument we kind of had on Forever Arsenal when I mentioned that, this process seems, and I think it was James that said, and I agree with James here, this process that we're in, it seems to be a long-term process. It seems to be a process where, listen, be patient, it's going to take time, there's going to be bumps, obstacles in the way, there's going to be lows as well as highs, but we're going to get there. You've just said something where I agree. It seems that Man City and potentially Chelsea have the league locked for, let's say, the next 5 years. So essentially, where is this process taking us to? Is it just to top four? Is it just to be in there again for a few more years?
It could be a Champions League title.
It could be a Champions League.
We could win a Champions League because you could win that without playing a City or a Chelsea feasibly. It's the cup competition.
I must say, we can talk about winning
it's a
the
cup
Champions
competition,
League.
the Champions League. I've seen in the past that teams have won the Champions League that haven't been the greatest teams. I remember Chelsea won it against Bayern Munich. Porto won it a few years ago. It is a glorified cup competition with a massive amount of prestige. The league, as you said, it's kind of wrapped up. You look at the last 10 seasons, 7 out of that 10 were won by what I call the sugar daddy teams. And now we've got another sugar daddy team, the biggest sugar daddy team, waiting in the wings. So
I must say, I
it's
find
really
it ironic
hard.
that we're talking about winning Champions Leagues in the aftermath of not even getting past the third round of the FA Cup.
It's mad.
Let us dream, man. Let us dream. Come on, man.
But it can happen.
So, you know what I mean?
And my thing is, this segued from you mentioning that success and me saying it's not, and you mentioned financial implications and whatnot, but as fans, I don't think the financial implications of it have meant much to us over the years of making it. So why would we sit here now and say getting back to Champions League is important because of the money? On one hand it is, but these owners have shown us, on the other hand, it's not for us, fans, because they haven't invested those 16 years of Champions Leagues in a row. They haven't built off of that. They never took that risk at that point when we was top four, when we was second to Leicester, to really kick on and get over the line, even if it's just that one season of a Premier League title. They never did it. They was always comfortable within their own shell.
But it's been a few years, things have changed. Do
you think they've changed, Kroenkes?
If I judge it on the last few transfer windows, the Partey deal I thought was really important. He hasn't worked out exactly as we thought he would.
That's a big signing.
But it was a big signing, and also we've seen glimpses of what this guy is. I'm so missing him. I mean, I've started looking at Ghana's results, and I've got friends in Ghana. I was chatting to one on Instagram last night. I want Ghana out. I want Ghana out. I know it sounds really biased, but for one reason, I want Partey back. I mean, I was looking at the odds on, if they lose to Gabon on Friday, maybe they'll get released.
He's done all the
They're
maths
out.
already.
I mean, it's
He's plotted their downfall.
I mean, I like
Ghanaians,
Ghana.
sorry, I'm not involved.
Look,
Yeah,
it's a compliment to Partey.
Yeah, no, we get you,
It's a
man, we
compliment to
get
Partey. Is maybe they'll release him. I mean, the odds aren't that stacked in Ghana's favour playing Gabon on Friday. They could have 2 losses out. We could have him back.
But how does that answer if you think the Kroenkes have changed? Because 50 million, it is a big signing, but 50 million is 50 million.
That was the first one. We've got the 150 million we spent really well in the summer. So they have invested. For me, I think we all agreed on this. The investment was the biggest, so that's a fact. And we're happy with the players that they've brought in. So, okay.
So do we relieve the pressure?
We want to keep the pressure up. It's
100%.
important. We want to keep that pressure up.
And
but
how do you keep it up
too,
by saying top 6 is success for us fans?
It's not success, but what you said was top 4, we need it, and we clarified that if we don't get it, what you would want is Arteta out, and I'm not there.
No, I'm not there either. I think this window is really interesting because, first of all, one of the biggest and most important elements of a window for me is just as much as who you bring in, is who you get rid of. We've actually done what I think United should be doing in that we've just written off assets. We've just paid off Mustafi, Ozil. We just got to pay off Kolasinac, just let him go, write it off. We've got to let go of...
That's assuming somebody wants him.
True, Bellerin. Them man, they got to go soon, you know what I mean? We just got to let them go. I think the outgoings, I get we're thin on numbers, but for me, looking to the summer, the outgoings for me are as important as the incomings. Once you've cleared the decks, United now, for them, they got to get rid of so many players, but they're struggling because they're on big contracts. We've shot ourselves in the foot. If we can get 3 or 4 more players out and de-Wengerize this squad, because there's still some players in the squad that are from the Wenger era, that'll be the first point. For me, in regards to this window, if we can bring in 2 or 3 key signings, I think top 4 is there for the taking. I don't think we will get top 4. I'll say that straight. I don't think we'll get top 4. I think we'll just miss out.
Who do you think will?
I've got a sneaky feeling United will score their way to 4th. I think they'll turn it around. That's just my gut feeling. They were horrible last night in the cup game. They've been horrible for a year now. Yeah. I've just got a feeling they're gonna score their way to 4th. But I hope I'm wrong. But I think if we can get in 2 or 3 key players in this window, I think top 4 then we become favourites for that. I think the North London derby on the weekend is big as well. I think if we lose that game, we're in big trouble.
Yeah.
We're in big trouble. I think then we're fighting for top 6, essentially, because I think then you've got 2 teams I'd probably put ahead of us. And I'll give Tottenham a massive kind of shot in the arm. Yeah.
Do you think, though, that, putting it out there, January is a time where you get like 2, 3 significant players through the door?
It's such a myth, this idea you can't do business in January.
No, you can, but because don't forget, let's be honest, man, all the clubs are in the market for the same types of players.
Yeah, well, be aggressive, do your due diligence, and get the deal done.
Especially when depth is also a problem. I think in January you can solve depth. Maybe 1 star signing and 2 to bolster the squad. So in 2 months, if Tomiyasu's missing because of a tight groin, we've got someone there that we're happy with.
Yeah, you can bring players in, but I'm not so sure that you're going to bring in 2 or 3 players that materially are going to really affect our position at the end of the season.
I do. I think if you get in a quality midfielder,
I think you'll be very fortunate to get.
I think we're light in midfield. I think we're light up front. Yeah. I think if you get in a forward and get in a midfielder, that could be the difference to me to rotate Lacazette for the second half of the season, and also for the games where Xhaka gets red carded, because you know that he will. You've got someone that can come in. Frank Kessie at AC Milan. He's on a free this summer. Go and get him now.
A bolster the squad, not necessarily an all-star in 11.
Because our 11 is fine. Our 11 I have no issues with. It's when Partey's out. It's when Lacazette's out. It's when key players are out.
What I'm saying is, will the level of player that you bring in, will he be of the level of a Partey?
I don't think he has to be, though. I don't think he has to be. I think, like I say, Frank Kessie, I think he's just as good as Thomas Partey. But if he's understudy, I'm cool with that. Someone like that is gettable on a free
enough to bring in that top 4 place.
I think so.
What do you think, Julian, in terms of what do we need this month to make that top 4 more achievable?
Oh, it's the obvious. It's the striker, and it's that covering in midfield. But I don't want to be just so reactionary from Sunday. Is that what we're looking at the moment? Is we're so light for reasons that are short term. I mean, Partey will be back. Maybe he'll be back in a week or so. Maybe he'll be back in February. But he's on his way back. Xhaka, he's got COVID. There's nothing to say that he won't be back. I would rather see a player come in central midfield to take over Xhaka. I've not been a fan of his. So I'd like to see a player that can come in and challenge and overtake Xhaka. I thought we'd had that in Lokonga. I was really pleased the way Lokonga started. I thought I wouldn't have to see Xhaka again. I was wrong.
And obviously the striker situation has unfolded.
Yeah, the striker situation is. Yeah, I mean,
I think maybe a pertinent question is: do we have what it takes to get these guys through the door? Because let's be honest, and I know some of the fan base out there are going to come at me and say, "Oh, we didn't really want him." Yeah, because look, Coutinho, I'm convinced. Some people are not. That we were in the hunt for Coutinho.
I don't think so.
I don't
think we needed
Arteta
him.
himself wanted Coutinho.
I've
wanted the
read
club
that.
to push the boat out.
That.
We didn't get him. Similarly to Buendia in the summer. Okay, so I know some people, I know James over there, he's convinced that we wanted Odegaard instead. But time and time and again, we're going for these players for whatever reason. We're not getting those deals through the door. Although I accept that we did have a good transfer window last time. But you know, the more sought after players, we don't seem to be getting.
But you've got to also remember that a lot of the, and I mentioned this on a few podcasts back on Forever Arsenal. Someone that works in the media, I know that Arsenal get linked with a lot of players because Arsenal trend very easily. Okay. So I don't really get caught up in the transfer chat too much.
So you don't think we were after Coutinho?
I don't think we were.
I don't think we would have been. It made absolutely no sense.
It doesn't make any
because
sense.
we were totally covered in that position. He was going to be expensive. All right, he might not have had to pay a transfer fee, but the wages he's on are ridiculous for a player that we don't need, and also doesn't fit the profile of what we've been going after.
Let me tell you now, 9% of the players that Arsenal linked with in the papers, on the radio, in the media, we're not linked with.
So do we think
So
we're linked with
Vlahovic?
I think we're linked with him.
Yeah.
I think we are linked
You
with
do,
him,
yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I'm interested in why you don't rate him and don't think he's a player that would fit in well at Arsenal.
I've watched him and I see a good player. I don't see a player that I want to spend 60 million on, 70 million on. I don't see that player. I think our next striker has to be the striker that is going to see us for the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
Let's say 5 years. And I don't see him as that guy. I don't see enough to make me think, yeah, he's for the long term.
Isak?
I see someone that's on form.
Isak?
Yeah.
Him, I'd mess with more. I think he's more mobile. I don't think he's maybe as good a finisher as Vlahovic.
But he links up play better.
But he links up play better. I think he's a better player. And I think the way that the modern game is going, I actually think being a better player is more valued than being a better finisher. I think if you can play, I think if you can play up top, I think that is now being valued more than someone that's an out-and-out killer.
But isn't that been our issue? That we've got all these players that can link up, but we've had no one, the
killer.
The killer, the fox in the box.
Yeah.
And that's where we saw Eddie. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's... Well, he was a goal scorer.
For who?
Of a certain level.
Yeah, of a certain level.
For
He might not be.
21s,
He
yeah.
might not be up to the standard that we need, but from what I can see, we needed someone that could actually get in the box. I've always liked the target man back to the days of Paul Mariner, Alan Smith, someone that could hold the ball up and put the ball in the net with his head. I've always thought that we've missed and we lack that particular player. That's why, from what I've seen of Vlahovic, he would be, that he would be the right kind of fit for us. He's young, he seems to be built well, he seems to have the determination. Before that, I was always looking at Calvert-Lewin. I liked him, but he's been injured for so long now that I'm kind of forgetting what he played like.
Too many fashion magazines for that.
I've done too many fashion magazines.
I'm done with him already.
He's not doing very well at that either, judging by what I see.
I wasn't aware of that until James showed me on Sunday.
That's another bellerin up front for us.
But you know what, if I could just say, sorry to right in there, but I've got my reservations about both those two, but for different reasons. With Vlahovic, very good player, good numbers, but my reservations are the comments that were attributed to him.
Okay.
I think if you've got
his
a player,
desire and his wanting to play for us.
If you've got a player that's like second guessing whether he wants to come to your club, that's a very
similar
bad
to
look.
Locatelli at the summer when we was interested and he wanted to go Juventus.
To me, that's not a good sign. If he said it, so people are saying, if. With Isak, good player, but my reservation there is numbers are not what we want. We need somebody prolific. So as much as I respect the guy, I watched him closely in the Euros for Sweden, very good player. and I've taken note of him since then. But the numbers,
I
to
think
me,
the right team
and
he
this is
backs.
where me and you have disagreed in the past. I'm the kind of person that I view scoring goals in football to me is the hardest single job in the football team. To me, if you're not doing nothing and you pop up in the 89th minute and you score, as far as I'm concerned, you've done your job. The tracking back stuff, I'm not overly fussed with it. It's scoring goals. Football is a relatively low scoring game. That's why we love it. So if you've got a guy that can consistently score you goals, like what Aubameyang was doing, that is the type of striker that I like.
Isn't there a case to be made, and I've said this for a long time, that we need two strikers in the next two windows. I think we need an Isak and I think we need a Vlahovic. I'd take a Vlahovic and a Ivan
But
Toney.
which would you plump for if you had one over the other?
In all honesty,
The goal poacher or the person who
the problem is,
works hard?
I can settle and tell you who I'd take out of the two. But I know that if we only got one of them, or one striker in the next 2 years, that's going to become a problem in the future. So I'd rather us sort out the squad now. We've got, for example, Odegaard and Emil Smith-Rowe in the number 10 position. We're happy with that.
Very.
We're happy because it adds some depth. Let's say Saka and Pepe on the right. We're happy with that, even though Pepe doesn't get enough chances recently. But Saka's doing enough to stay in the side. If someone needs to come in, we're all right with Pepe. Martinelli on the left, Smith-Rowe can... Yeah, I know, you feel. So I want to get to that position with the striker role. Yeah. And with Oba currently on the way out, regardless of this issue, he's got a year left. So, we have to look past him. Lacazette, 6 months to go, 4 months to go now. But he'll probably get a year extension. Eddie on the way out. I think we need two strikers. And is it the history of Kroenkes and the way they've invested that's stopping us really saying we need two? It's not an argument about whether we need a target man or a finisher. We need both. And we've seen that in the past.
But I think the club will prioritise.
Yeah.
And I think personally, a midfielder is more important than a striker right now. We do need two strikers.
No,
We definitely. I think we're
Yeah,
light
I
midfield.
think a striker, because what
We
you're
need a
looking at,
striker.
for me, it's the next few weeks, we're so light. I mean, Sunday really proved it to us that we've all been really looking forward to seeing Patino. And when he came on, when he was there, he didn't perform, but I think the reason for that is he needed some experience next to him. So we're so light. We had two boys together,
That's what I'm saying.
inexperienced.
I think
so we
midfield
did
is
that.
more needed to
But
be-
then when Partey comes back, when Xhaka comes
Smith-Rowe
back,
comes back.
we'll have.
But that's
we'll
three
have far more-
midfielders: El Nene,
we'll have-
Partey, and Xhaka.
Okay.
Who else?
Still got Lukonga. We've still got Patino. Callum
Don't count
Chambers
Patino.
can
We
still.
can't count Patino.
Not
You
yet.
can't count
Yeah,
Patino.
not yet.
He's there. He's in the squad.
I don't
He
want to see him in
can
the
come
Premier
on,
League this
but I
season.
think he could play so much better if he had some experience next to him.
Not yet. He's not
I would
ready
agree
yet.
with Jordan.
Not
He's not
yet.
ready
He shouldn't be
yet.
playing any Premier League games this season. He shouldn't be anywhere near that first team. I was surprised he was actually he started, be it through necessity or not, even in the Nottingham Forest game. Let the guy go out on loan, get him some proper men's football at a high level. We've got three midfielders.
Let me ask you something, Jordan.
Three.
Bruno Guimaraes or Alexander Isak this January?
I'll go Guimaraes.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think we can get by with Lacazette, Martinelli through the middle, worst case, and as a third choice Nketiah. Worst choice. I think we're light in the middle.
Big up to you, that's an excellent question, and my answer is Isak, even though he's not as prolific as I would like him, but I think we're going to need goals, and I don't, with respect to Eddie, who's on his way anyway, it would appear, there's not enough goals in the team. We are getting goals from midfield.
Yeah, you say that, but
We are
Saka
getting
but we are getting goals
And
from
Emil
Saka and Emil
Smith-Rowe.
Smith-Rowe. There are goals in the team.
we have
But
some
what I'm
good
saying, yeah,
midfielders.
you are right, but can we depend on that?
I would bank on
Going
us between
forward.
now to the end of the season. There's enough goal scorers in the team that would make me want to prioritise. So if we get a long-term injury to Partey and Xhaka gets his red card, which he will get at some point, we know this. Who's in midfield?
Yeah.
But to go back to what
you're a midfield
Julian was
guy.
saying,
Yeah, I'm midfield at the moment because I also think that we can put Martinelli through the middle, and I'm the biggest. I love Martinelli, absolutely love him, and from when he first burst onto the scene, I thought that's what he was, a centre forward. So I think we can get by this season without a striker. I'd like to have a striker, but for me, the central midfield, as you said, we're so close to ending up with a Lukonga and a Patino in the middle.
I think what you're saying is relevant though, in that it shouldn't be an either or.
Yeah.
Why can't we get a midfielder and a striker? Why can't we get two strikers? And maybe, as you said earlier on, because of how we've been treated by Kroenke in previous years, we've kind of got used to just asking for the one. Just one, sir. Just give us one.
That's how we are.
When really, we should like, no, give us three.
Yeah.
We want 2 strikers in the midfielder. Go and get it done. So,
That's if they're out there and we can attract them.
Yeah,
they're always out there. It's a big world.
And the other,
big
the other
population.
aspect, in the real world, things cost money, and you can't have everything you want. So you do have to make choices.
Yeah, but when they've treated us the way they've treated us, they've got some making up to do. That's how I see it. You can't treat us the way you treated us for how many years and then come in like
Spoil
most
us
clubs
for 1
do, where
year,
it's
isn't
100
it?
mil, yeah, exactly, 150 mil. That's not enough. You do it consistently, get us back to where we should be.
Can I just answer your earlier question about, you said, what do we need to do to cement top 4? I think players and personnel, definitely. I think what's going to ultimately get us top 4 is an improvement in our away form. I think if we can improve our away form between now and May, I think we'll get 4th. My concern is that we're still going to drop too many stupid points away from home. At home, we're a problem. We're fine. You know what I mean? We're tidy. It's those away games that I still are concerned about. Not even necessarily top teams.
Yeah.
Mid-table teams dropping dumb points against. That, for me, I think will be the difference between whether we get 4th or not. If we can improve our away form, I think we'll get 4th.
Probably why
And
you
that
want a
starts
midfielder.
against Tottenham. the weekend.
Yeah. And Liverpool. Liverpool Thursday.
Yeah, League
Why?
Cup, but
Yeah.
I think the Premier League is now, firmly within our focus.
Yeah.
I want to get to the final of the League Cup. I want to win the League Cup, but the League Cup alone, I'm sorry, it's not a successful season for Arsenal Football Club. We're not
You will
Wigan.
qualify for Europe.
We're not Wigan Athletic. We're not Sheffield United.
Yeah,
We
but
qualify for the
it's-
Conference
it's the
League.
Conference
Don't bite,
League.
Turkish.
you
Don't
know?
bite. Don't bite. Don't bite.
Yeah. So drawing
Well,
out
you
the
said
whole
it-
story, man.
You said you wanted European football.
But it is a good day out, and it's something that I haven't seen personally since I think '93.
93, yeah.
Yeah, 93 was the last,
Yes,
yeah.
93 was the last time. It will be not a great season, of course, but it will be a bit of an icing on the cake. But yes, if we can get top
Cake.
4,
Where's the cake?
Well, it's
Well,
icing,
bare
no
icing
cake.
and no cake.
Put icing in my hand there, that's the League Cup.
top 4.
That reminds me like when you were young,
if we
innit,
get
and
top
your
4,
mum
that
makes
is,
a cake,
that is the
just
priority.
a piece of
Yeah.
icing
That's a
on the
priority, but
top.
it's still a good day out. It's still a competition we want to win.
Of course you want to. You want to win everything
and it'll
you're
be
in.
enjoyable.
No, I do have empathy
Yeah.
with that because, like I said, I've
Yeah.
had arguments like this before. That's why I was so disappointed at the weekend when we went out.
It
to
was.
Forest. That
I'm sorry,
to me,
you-
that
you-
was
you, You can't give me League Cup in 6th. That's not progress.
So
Well,
if
it is, because
it is.
last year
It
we
is
finished 8th
progress.
and we didn't win
Well,
anything.
it's technically progress,
Yeah.
but with the money spent, position that we're in, so I'm leaning more towards you now.
Yeah,
You
it
can't, from here on in, if you offer me a League Cup and 6th place, I'm upset.
Because if we're talking about the
I'm
variables
upset.
changing so much in our favour this season, Man United not doing what they should be doing, Tottenham going through a mess, obviously, with Conte, and now hopefully it doesn't work out. Everton, let's be honest, beginning of the season, we thought they might be there in the top 6 or there. Leicester, same thing. Aston Villa, same thing. So these 5 teams are essentially...
West Ham.
West Ham's another where, let's use West Ham. That's 6 teams in the league that are not doing what we thought they'd be doing at the start of the season, and we still can't say we need to make top 4 this year. How many seasons do you have where 6, 7 teams are not doing what you'd think they'd be doing? Like, how can we think that if we finish 5th this season is progress because we'll finish 3rd or 2nd? That doesn't happen. We could go 5th this season back to 9th. We could go 5th to 4th. We could go 4th this season back to 8th. But the reality is the best possible scenario for us moving forward is making Champions League.
Yep.
Why? Partly because of the money you talk
Yep.
about. But the key is not the money. The key is what the Kroenkes and the club do with the money. Our first year back in Champions League, whether it's this summer or next summer, I expect this ownership, or whoever's the owner at that time, to invest. Because that is the time to do it. You don't rest on your laurels. You don't make Champions League once and think, you know what, let's see how
Job
it
done.
goes.
Yeah.
You have to maintain consistency and put pressure on to stay there.
Yep, but it puts us in that position, or them, if they're looking at it from a business perspective and they get into the Champions League, it gives them more of an incentive to invest. That's why I think it is the most important thing for us to get into the Champions League. More important than the FA Cup, more important to the League Cup. It's the most important aspect of our season to get 4th place. However, if he doesn't get 4th place and he gets 5th or 6th, I wouldn't sack the guy.
Context, I think it depends how he comes 6th and 5th. If he's 5th and he's 8 points off 4th,
Yep. Yeah.
that's not
but
good.
then
See, the thing,
but-
that's a very good point because what if we're 5th and we finish behind West Ham? I mean, that's
Okay.
disappointing
Well, if
because
I-
West Ham
Yeah. No.
are not considered to be a team that we normally would qualify.
Well,
and not only that, they've been playing Europe this season as well, whereas we haven't.
Yep. If we go back to earlier conversation with Unai Emery, you mentioned it was unfair that he missed out on Champions League by 1 point. But that's end of the season. Everyone was just losing pretty much all the games. It would have been so easy to get that top 4 position that season. I thought we were absolutely atrocious.
Isn't this season looking similar though? That's why I just talked about the 6 clubs letting themselves down that had led to us being in a better position.
So as regards the league, no, I think the performances bar the Everton game, and if we're talking about the Premier League now, if I take Everton out of it, I don't think that we've been playing badly at all. In some games,
we've been disappointing.
I thought it was disappointing.
We weren't poor.
We weren't poor, but I take the Everton game, the Brentford game, and the games at the beginning of the season, we can just wrap up in one sort of nightmare scenario. It all went against us. Once we got over that, since then, I think all the performances, bar probably Everton, have been of a standard. Some of them have been absolutely phenomenal.
There's been a few wins where we were poor. We've won a few games where
Watford,
we weren't good.
Norwich, 1-0.
Do you know what I think our best result of the season was?
Go on.
The 2-0 away win at Leicester.
It was only the first half.
That was a big one.
Yeah,
we were nearly in. We were nearly singing the praises of the team a couple of weeks ago against Man City. However, we imploded a 10-minute spell. But for me, that first half was the best half we played this season against Man City. But the best all-round performance for me, forget about the 5-0 thrashings of Norwich and slapping up Newcastle and them, man. To me, our best performances going away to Leicester, beating them 2-0. Okay, Leicester weren't great at that time, but still, that to me was our best performance.
So I wanna round this up by asking you all the same question. Julian, let's start with you. Where do you think Arsenal will finish this season?
4th.
And if we don't?
If we don't,
we move.
What? So you asked me.
You can't set target, and then if it doesn't happen, what happens next?
Well, you asked me, what do I think? So I think we will finish 4th. I'm hoping higher than that. I think there was a chance, and there still is a chance we could do 3rd. I think Chelsea were there for the taking.
Easy.
So if you,
there's a chance.
Fair.
A chance. However, 4th. If we don't, I've said I don't think there should be a change in management. But what's as important to me as the results are the performances. And what I've seen, apart from a few performances this season, has been very encouraging. And for me, that's been progress. And I've been happy with Arteta.
Okay, so 4th, Laurie.
Right, if I'm going to be honest, I would say I'd love to say that we're going to finish in the top 4. I think we'll fall just short unless we have a really good transfer window, which is very subjective. I'm going to go for we'll finish inside the top 6. We might fall just short of finishing the top 4, although obviously I hope we do.
Yeah, obviously we all hope we do. Jordan, what do you think?
5th by a point.
Wow,
I think we'll just miss out.
Very definitive of it.
I'm going for it. I think. Obviously, I hope we get 4th. Only because we'll be 4th, but secondly, it'll be so funny seeing Man United miss out on the top 4. Listen, if they don't get top 4 this season, Man United, that's a madness. That is a real story, but this is the Arsenal platform, fair enough. I think we'll finish 5th. I think we'll just miss out. I think they will get their act together, and they will scramble, crawl over the line, and just pip us to that.
You know what's funny? It's funny, man. Wenger, we all got fed up with top 4. Now we want top 4. With Emery, in his first season, he finished 1 point off top 4, and 4 months later he was out the door. But here we are 2 years later, not putting our neck on the line with top 4. And even if we don't make it, it's it is what it is. We'll see the next season. I look back at how I felt under Wenger, and that is a legend of the football club. In the end, we've dropped our standards even from then. As fans, we haven't maintained the same standard we asked for under Arsene Wenger, and since then, even from Emery, the standards have dropped because we was all upset with Emery finishing 1 point behind top 4. But it seems that this season, majority of the fan base will be content, even finishing maybe a point off top 4 or 5 points off top 4.
But one of the reasons why myself and Jordan, I'm sure that Jordan would agree with me, is that you have to look at it. In the previous 2 years, we've had 2 8th place finishes. So for us to finish 4th, let's be honest, that's a quantum leap.
That's an overachievement.
Yeah, that is
Oh yeah,
overachievement.
that's why we need 4th this
No,
year.
no, I agree.
Yeah, no, we need it.
I'm
but
tired of
So where do you-
flirting.
where do you
man.
think we'll
whether
finish?
we'll get it or not is what we're
think we'll
saying,
finish
myself and
6th.
Jordan are
You
saying.
think 6th?
Because let's face it, I mean, I know people again are going to probably come at me. But up the road there, man, Tottenham, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be cat and mouse.
I think
with it.
4th to 6th is going to be separated by a handful of points.
Yeah.
So that's why I was saying context. I think you can finish 6th, but finish 3 points off 4th. So that, I agree that I think our standards have lowered, and you've outlaid there how.
Just to
and
finish
why,
off the
but-
point I was making about up the road there, Conte's come in, he's a very experienced, very talented manager, and he's had that bounce. 8 games he's been there, and they've not lost in the league yet.
Well, let's see if trust in the process.
He's
is
gonna lose this
well.
weekend, though.
Well,
we
that's
lose
it.
this weekend.
We hope so.
Let's go in there, 3-point lane.
That's the big one, and get another big away tie out the way. Obviously, we've got a few home fixtures left against the big ones. Who else we got away? Tottenham, and that's it.
That's the only one. Liverpool at home.
Oh, Chelsea's
United
away
at
as well,
home,
isn't it?
Chelsea's away.
Okay, so we've got a couple of big ones there. People, let us know in the comments, where do you think Arsenal will finish this season? And if we don't finish in that position, add on what you think needs to be done after. Because Julian makes some fair points, remaining patient, consistency and so on. And I think I fucking make some fair points too, if I'm honest with you. But let me know. I was going to say these man here, but yeah, let me know in the comments
You've
below what
broken
you
your back.
guys think.
They're
Yourself in the
all
back,
honest
yeah.
points. They're all honest points. that
Yeah,
we're
honest
making.
points,
We're
yeah.
not capping, man, innit? We're not saying things just for the sake of it. What we say is what we believe.
Never that.
That's a nice way to end it. People, hit the like button on your way out. Give us your thoughts, all of that. And tune in next couple of weeks. You'll see another supporters club coming Thursday. We're obviously live for the Liverpool game before that big Tottenham one. And there's a lot of content in between there too, box to boxes and fan debates and so on. So look out for them, people. Love for the love. As always, peace.